Hey, 28 millimeter RPG. Rick is here once again, drinking my morning coffee. This used to say "Dad" on it and a bunch of other stuff. So it's it's I guess this is maybe about 15 years old now. Morning coffee. Um, so hey, I want to kind of touch on something that Abe was talking about. Talking about games is his channel, and I'm sure all of you have heard me refer to his channel many times before. And there was a discussion that we were doing, kind of through the comments and stuff, and it had, in a sense, it was regarding the solo, how to present a solo game for video consumption, and it's to me it's a little hard, and this kind of brings me into actual play, like with other players. When you're watching actual plays of role-playing games, you can watch them and go, it might not be, it might be more fun for the participants, but as an observer from the outside, you'd be like, I can't, how can I watch this? Because you're not involved with it, first off, and you're not making any decisions. And as you're playing, your head is going through the things that you might be, thinking about, what you're going to do next, kind of idea. And that all relates to what the other players are doing at the same time, and what the game master is putting forth in front of you before the visuals of your characters, and you decide on what you're going to do from there on. So it's a very spontaneous kind of thing. But when you are doing a game, you're not, in the real world, you aren't doing it to be presenting it to the outside of your circle that's there, the players that are playing currently, and the game master. And there might be an observer or two on the sidelines watching the game. That occurs every once in a while. But when you are presenting it for online consumption for people to watch, things might end up getting a little bit more changed up. Like, and it's kind of like what we're doing in our own live sessions is we're cutting out a lot of the talk with mechanics, and we're like, kind of making the action continue on with very few interruptions, or at least the interruptions, like rolling dice and stuff, take minimal time. And that's something that you can take to your own table and make your sessions go further, longer, faster within the time allotted. Like, you can get a lot done. And that's one of the things that, when originally I was talking to a bunch of my associates at work, there was a gal who has her own group, and she her and her husband and her their friend, the friend is the game master, and there's only the two of them that are playing as players, but it takes them forever to get something done. So, in their session of 3 hours, they get barely anything, accomplished. And that's what they find is they're not really getting anything done. It's taking a long time to progress through the each session. What happens in those sessions is what takes long. And she asked, what was our last session like? And this was a while back. This is when I was playing Castles and Crusades with Spencer's son. Josh was there. My son was playing, and I Maxwell was playing as well. And we went through a basically a 2 hour session, and it started off in town. They ended up going into the basement of the headquarters that they were clearing out. They obtained the rights to the guardhouse. They discovered that somebody was already trying to clear out the underneath there. They met her underground. She was a thief, and they ended up helping her fight a bunch of monsters. They asked her to come along because they were going to go and put together a posse to go ahead and take on this group of orcs that were causing problems in the outskirts. So they ended up, it ended up a little bit of a session for the magic user to go ahead and acquire the apprenticeship through one of the wizards. And they reconvened and went forth to go ahead and take on the orcs. Of course, they had to get a couple of extra, tag along. So they've got the mercenary in the town to come along with them for a part of the prize. Any kind of treasure he gets a cut from. And there was a couple of other stragglers that were just helping carrying, uh, stuff, their equipment, so that if they needed to, make camp out there, they could. So they went out, and they ended up having an ambush situation. There was a bunch of running around that went on. They were trying to lure the monsters, like the ogre and a few of the orcs, into a trap. It didn't work out too well. Um, and also they had found a little secret passage, and they ended up, doing a little bit of stuff in that passage area. Discovering they fought some big monster roper that was on the ceiling, and they lost one of their companions to that situation. Um, and they ended up, alerting the guards down in that area, the orc guards. Then they left that area. As the orcs tried to pursue them, they got chased off. Um, then they decided to reconvene and try to, work a plan together in order to take on these orcs that had taken over these caves. So they went back up there again, and they started a full-on siege against the orcs, and it was a big battle. There was a ogre, hucking rocks down at them. There was and one of the characters was a half orc, and he ended up meeting his brother, who was one of the leaders of this orc tribe, and they had a battle against each other, which didn't work out very well because the players kind of jumped the gun, and it was supposed to be an honorable battle between the two, clashing, but like I say, one of the players jumped the gun and ended up, the whole group of orcs jumped in that were watching, and it became chaos from there on. But they managed to pull through, and they started to fight their way into the caves, and then the trap was laid in there. There was a area where the portcullis came down, and suddenly this black pudding starts creeping out through the portcullis, and that's where we ended it. It was basically a last ditch battle that was going on, and that was a lot of stuff in 2 hours. And she was like, "How do you do that? How do you get so much done in a 2 hour session?" And it's because I'm taking what I do in what you see, on my live streams. We cut out a lot of the mechanics. We cut out a lot of the initiative whenever it's unnecessary. I mean, when the players say they're going to do something, they get to do it. It's not roll to see if you get to do it at the time. No, they get to do it right away. And I only have initiative only when it's kind of like a deadlock kind of battle. Something happening where it's that kind of a situation. It's a duel or something like that. That's the only time I bring out initiative. And I cut out a lot of other unnecessary rules as well. So if they're searching for something, they'll usually find it. If they're not, then I will rely on a roll that they could passively may detect something. So I just ask them to roll a d20. And I see their character sheets. I know what kind of bonuses they get. So there's no need to say roll to, find traps. I just make a roll to see if they are not indicating that they are looking for traps. Then I see if they can find it passively. If they fail that roll, well, then if they're not saying that they're looking for traps, they're going to hit the trap. So I find that taking a lot of what I use online definitely helps in your regular session in making the session go farther, longer, faster within the shorter amount of time. And I find it quite good to use. I might have to go ahead and make a video on something like that in order to kind of help people kind of cut down a lot of the out of character talking. And I know there was a little bit of out of character talking with our players during that session, but it wasn't a lot. I try to keep everybody in character during the game. And that's just the way we play, and it just works that way. You can talk about all the other things after the session. After our session's complete, we put away the dice and everything, and we can laugh and yak and talk about what we encountered and how the game went and stuff like that. And you can talk about the rules and things like that. And they can have suggestions on, whether or not they want to implement more of a die roll situation in certain things or cut out die rolls in certain things too. It's kind of like a mishmash of the players and the game master working together to go ahead and, streamline the rules more in certain ways and make it more detailed in others where they like the detail. So, it's a lot of compromise between, the game master and the players. And that'll work. That should work well with your sessions as well. So, yeah, that's basically all I have to say in this short section. I got to go to work here pretty quick. So I'll, post this one now, and, yeah, you'll probably see it in the evening. So take care, guys. And, if you like what you see and you're learning from it, subscribe. Just do it. Do it. It's free. Doesn't cost you a thing.